Welcome to the Witchy Work Wishes podcast, a place to find your weekly inspiration for bringing your personal witchcraft practice into your business, work, and office. Welcome to Witchy Work Wishes, and welcome to our first episode here in the month of February. I am super excited that you are here with me today because this episode is one of those topics that sounds pretty simple, like something we already know, and yet it is one of the biggest, most powerful pieces of our daily magic that we practice. Today's episode is all about watching our words, what we say to ourselves, what we say to other people, what we say in our spells, and what we whisper during our meditations. It's about what we say when we are feeling inspired and what we say when we are tired, stressed, overwhelmed, or doubting ourselves. The words we repeat out loud and in our head do not just describe our lives, they shape them. So today's episode is actually inspired by our February Animal Oracle card draw over on Patreon, the Parrot Spirit. As I was working on our February spell, our grimoire packet, and our worksheets for this animal energy, I really came to understand the Parrot Spirit is not a quiet card. This is not a subtle oracle card like we had last month with the beautiful butterfly spirit energy. This one comes in like, come on, are you hearing yourself? Like, are you paying attention to what you are repeating? Because parrots mimic the sounds around them. And when the parrot spirit appears like it is now for us, it's time to get mindful about our self-talk and the quality of it. Colette Baron Reed, who created the Spirit Animal Oracle deck that I pulled this beautiful card from, describes Parrot Spirit with this question. What are you saying to yourself? What message are you repeating? And she explains it. Parrot Spirit is asking us to notice whether our words lift us up or quietly tear us down. She says that our loving, healing words can cut through the noise and inspire others, and that we are called to listen for the words that remind us of our own strength, abundance, and joy. And then repeat them, affirm them, speak them like they are real, because they are. And one of the most powerful lines in her message is this: the universe will reflect back to you the story you tell. And I believe that so deeply in my bones. She continues with this protective message, reminding us that Parrot Spirit shows up as a reminder to be mindful of the words that flow from our mouth, from our pen, from our keyboard. She asks us, are we communicating with integrity? Are we aware of what we've internalized? Are we repeating beliefs just because we've heard them so many times we stopped questioning them? And she says this beautiful thing: parrots represent the law of praise. So we are being called to speak truth, speak with love. And that is exactly what we are going to do today, because we are witches. And whether we realize it or not, our words are spells. Our thoughts are spells. Even our tone, yeah, it's a spell. So let's talk about how to work with this energy in a real way, not just with magical intentions, but in our everyday life, our work, our relationships, and in the way we speak to our own soul. First, though, I do have some housekeeping notes to share with you. I mentioned in last week, or on last week's episode, that I would talk about the energy of Friday the 13th and some of our upcoming numerically important dates if you like actually working with, numerology. But after looking at the calendar, I decided to devote an entire episode to it because next weekend has enough energy with the Friday the 13th and then the Saturday the 14th, Lupercalia and Valentine's Day, that if anyone is looking to do some love magic, I do think it's going to be a pretty good weekend for it. So hold the thought, one more week, and let's dive in all the way next week and really take the time to explore our options. Now, see, I really thought, really thought that I was going to relax this past weekend. I truly did. I had that whole I'm going to take it easy, I'm going to be soft, I'm going to rest plan in my head. And then the deadlines that I thought would be wrapped up by Friday, yeah, they lingered on and said, absolutely not, ma'am. So I did what we always do. I powered through. I got it done. And somehow I survived. I made it through another January. And the part that I'm honestly pretty proud of is that I still carved out just a little pocket of time for me, for my in bulk celebration and my full moon ritual, because that mattered. That was my anchor. And listen, like I'm not saying I'm out here at peak performance right now. I look and feel more like a cat that has lived 8 of her 9 lives. Like I'm alive, but I'm crispy. You guys know what I mean, right? But I know myself, I will bounce back. And I am already plotting my recovery plan, which is absolutely nothing. This coming weekend, not one frickin' thing. I'm talking full jammies, zero responsibility, movie after movie after movie, like a full on blanket burrito reset. And I can't wait. Now, of course, I will do my weekly recording for us here at Wishy Work Wishes, but I am just so excited for nothing. And just thinking about it is bringing me joy. Let's see, in addition to surviving, I'm also wrapping up another book in my book club group. I just finished the book called Till We Have Faces by C.S. Lewis. And this book is it's about love, but not like the sweet Hallmark version of love. It's about the kind of love that can get tangled up in control, the kind of love that is devotion and loyalty and sacrifice, but also jealousy and fear and the need to be needed, really. It's a retelling of the myth of Cupid and Psyche, but it's told through the eyes of Psyche's older sister, the one who doesn't feel chosen, the one who feels left behind, the one who is trying so hard to keep everything together. And what unfolds is this deeply emotional story about identity, longing, grief, and what happens when we spend our lives building walls around our hearts. And then all of a sudden, realize one day that we are the ones trapped inside them. It's one of those books that doesn't just entertain you, it kind of quietly crawls into your mind and starts tugging on your own life, your own patterns, and your own relationships. And it leaves you thinking long after the last page. Now, you guys might know the more popular books by C.S. Lewis. He is really famous for the Chronicles of Narnia, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, Prince Caspian, all of those. And I feel like for so many of us, those were childhood books, like the cozy, wintry, magical doorways into another world. And yes, he is absolutely known for those. But Till We Have Faces is not that kind of book at all. This one is grown up. It's emotional. It's mythic. It's almost haunting in places. It's one of those stories where you think you're reading about someone else. And then, I don't know, for me at least, like halfway through, you're like, wait a second. Why do I feel personally attacked? Because it gets into the real stuff, like the shadow stuff. How the way we love can be beautiful and devoted, but also controlling. The way heartbreak can shape a personality. The way we try to keep people close because we are terrified of being left. The way we build identities around being needed. And the way our inner voice can become our whole reality if we do not stop and question it. It's not a fluffy read by any means. It's a reflective read, a winter read, a hold on, let me stare out the window for a minute after the chapter kind of read. And if you were looking for your next read, I gotta say, I did like this one. Again, it's called Till We Have Faces by C.S. Lewis, and it was published in 1956. I believe it is actually his last novel and the one he considered his most mature work of fiction. Okay, today though, I would say go ahead and get comfy if you can. If you've been here from the very beginning with this podcast, you might remember that, in season 1, even season through a big chunk of season 2, I really tried to keep the episodes around 30 minutes. Like that was the plan. That was the intention. And then kind of surrendered to the fact that these conversations want to be what they want to be. So I stopped timing myself so tightly. I stopped forcing a container, and I let the episodes form organically, which, as you've probably noticed, tends to land around an hour ish. And honestly, I love it because you also know something else about this space. I almost always talk about what I'm actively working on, in my own practice. The lessons I am in, the questions I'm sitting with, the curiosities that won't leave me alone. And I've always had this little mantra in my head that if I need this information, maybe you do too. And truly, that's how this entire podcast was born. Years ago, I was looking for ways to weave my witchcraft into my office life, into my corporate world, into, the deadlines, the spreadsheets, and responsibilities and meetings. And I just did not find much out there that spoke to that intersection. So I created what I personally needed. And then I took a deep breath. I took a risk and I shared it publicly with you. Again, thinking maybe you need this too. And somehow, beautifully, here we are. So I want to say thank you, like truly, truly thank you, because I know that my current struggles, my evolving interests or topics, lighting me up at any given season, might not always mirror exactly where you are in your own life. And yet, you're still here. You still show up. You still listen. You still walk alongside me in this unfolding. And that means more to me than I can properly put into words. I love watching our witchy work wishes family grow. It's not super fast. It's definitely not flashy. It's slow and intentional. It's rooted. And it's growing because of you. Every like, every comment, every share, every time you send an episode to a friend and say, hey, this made me think of you. All of that quietly tells the algorithm something's happening over here. But more importantly, I feel it. Like I notice it. I sense it. And I am deeply grateful. I also want to say that supporting this podcast directly through Patreon memberships truly matters on a very real, practical level. That support doesn't just help, it really fuels the sustainability of this work. It supports the time, the energy, the research, the creating, all of it. It allows Witchy Work Wishes to keep existing and growing in a way that feels aligned and heart led. So, whether you are supporting through listening, sharing, leaving a review, or joining us on Patreon, please know, please know all of it counts. And I am really thankful that you are here. So grab your coffee, your tea, your water bottle, whatever you've got. And if you're driving or folding laundry or sitting at your desk trying to get through your day, just know, please know, you are exactly where you are supposed to be. Because today's episode is one of those episodes that feels like a conversation we don't just listen to. It's going to be one we feel. It's one we carry with us long after it's over. I have been thinking about this topic so much lately. About words, about the way we speak to other people. Yes, of course, right? But even more than that, the way we speak to ourselves. The things we say out loud, the things we whisper under our breath, the stories we repeat so often that they just start to feel like the truth. So today, I want to talk about choosing our words carefully, but not in a, be perfect kind of way. More like in a powerful way, in a witchy way, in a spell work kind of way. Because words are never neutral. Words hold energy. Words create momentum. Words shape the atmosphere around us, right? In our homes, our relationships, our work lives, and in our nervous systems. And this is where our animal energy for today comes in, because we are working with the parrot. And yes, the parrot can be colorful and clever and social and expressive, but this oracle card doesn't just ask what we're saying. It asks, what are we repeating? It asks, what phrases have become habits? What thoughts have turned into scripts? Because parrots repeat, right? That's what they do. And sometimes, so do we. We repeat what we were told. We repeat what we've always believed. We repeat what we learned in childhood. We repeat what fear says. We repeat what stress says. We repeat what we think we should say to be safe or liked or accepted. So today, we are going to use parrot energy as a mirror, a loving one, not a judgmental one. And we are going to look at what's on repeat inside of us. And then we are going to choose again. Because this episode is all about reclaiming our voice, reclaiming our inner dialogue, and understanding something really important. Thought is spell work. Speech is spell work. And when we shift our words, we shift our whole world. So, with that, let's jump into it. Today, we are talking about the spell work of thought and speech. Well, the whole idea for this topic today came from the monthly animal oracle card draw that I do for our Patreon Witchy Work Wishes family. For the month of February, our direction is from the Spirit Animal Oracle deck by Colette Baron Reed and the Parrot Spirit. Her actual description of the Parrot Spirit is this. She writes, "What are you saying to yourself? What messages are you repeating? Is it something that makes you feel good about yourself and reminds you of your strengths and potential?" Parrots mimic the sounds around them, and when Parrot Spirit appears, it is time to be more mindful of your self-talk and its qualities. What do you say to others? Are you repeating what you truly believe? Remembering to speak with light and love can become a habit. Be generous with compliments and thanks, affirming all that is good so that your loving, healing words will be heard throughout the jungle, cutting the noise and inspiring others. Listen for the words that remind you of all the strength, abundance, and joy in your life and in the world around you. And then repeat them, affirming what is real, true, and nurturing to the soul. The universe will reflect back to you the story you tell. Words matter, so choose ones that lift you up and inspire others to remember that beauty surrounds us. Colette Baron Reed continues with words of protection, and she writes, "Are you aware of what you are saying to yourself and others? Parrot Spirit shows up as a reminder to heed the words that flow from your mouth, your pen, and your keyboard. Be mindful of the beliefs you have internalized. Are they what you chose to believe? Are you communicating with integrity? Parrot Spirit wants you to listen to what you say and your motives for saying it. Right speech is called for now, which means you are called to reflect on the beliefs that have been parroted by people so often that you simply accepted them unquestioningly. Journal about what you truly believe and wish to see in the world and in your life. Write words affirming what you value. Speak them aloud, expressing gratitude for what is just coming into being. Your voice has power, and you can change the conversation in your heart and in the world around you. Parrot represents the law of praise, so you are called to speak the truth and speak with love." Okay, so let's talk about why Parrot Spirit is actually the perfect card for February and the energy for all of us collectively to be working on. Because parrots do not invent new sounds. They do not sit around and think, what original phrase can I create today? Nope. Parrots repeat, they mimic, they echo, they mirror. And that's why this card is so powerful, because when Parrot Spirit shows up, it's not just asking us, like, what are you saying? I believe it is asking something even deeper. What are you repeating? What words have become automatic? What phrases fall out of your mouth without you even thinking of it? What thoughts play in your head like a playlist you didn't even download on purpose? Because Parrot Spirit is symbolic of repetition, and repetition is where a bunch of our magic really lives. Well, not that. Repetition is where our patterns live, right? It's where our patterns live too. Now, this card can represent a couple things. Habits for sure, right? The little things we do daily that shape our life over time. It can represent internal scripts. You know, those familiar phrases like, "Ah, shoot, I'm behind," or, "Oh man, I never get it right." This card can represent inherited beliefs words that were handed to us by family, culture, religion, school, or past relationships. It can represent some social conditioning, those invisible rules we didn't even agree to, but somehow we live by. And this card can represent, the nervous system autopilot, the way we speak when we are triggered, stressed, overwhelmed, or afraid. Because when we are in survival mode, we really do not choose our words carefully. We default. It's natural, it's human. We repeat what our nervous system thinks is true. And that's why February is just so perfect for this type of work. Because January, in so many ways, is about dreaming, right? January is about that hopeful, clean slate energy. It's vision boards, it's goal lists. It's about new planners, new intentions. January is the this is who I want to become month. But February? We've been talking about this a bunch. February is the okay, let's actually do it month. February is implementation. It's mindset. It's the moment where the universe kind of leans in and says, hey, like, are you serious? Because if you are serious about this, now we're going to start building this for real. And this is where that New Year intention becomes something deeper. It becomes a personality shift. It becomes a new identity. It becomes a new way of moving through your day. And Parrot Spirit is the perfect reminder of this truth. We don't create our future through one big moment. We create it through what we repeat. We create it through what we speak to ourselves over and over and over again. So February, yeah, that's when we stop dreaming it. February is when we start living it like it is already true. Because that is spell work, right? That is manifestation. That is witchcraft in the most practical sense. We are not just hoping for change. We are becoming the version of us who speaks and walks and thinks and chooses like the change is already here. Our words are not decoration, they are direction. They are not just sounds, they are not just sentences, they are not those, no big deal type things. And they are definitely not harmless. Words are one of the oldest magical tools we've ever had. Before we had written spells, before we had grimoires, before we had fancy herb bundles and crystal grids, we had language. We had the spoken word. We had breath and voice and vibration. We had the ability to name a thing, and in naming it, give it power. I think that is why witches have always known when you speak, you are not simply communicating, you are casting, you are shaping energy, you are calling something forward or maybe sending it away. You are weaving a thread into your reality. Sometimes it's intentional, sometimes it's without even realizing it. And this happens because spell work does not begin at the altar. Spell work begins long, long before that. It starts in the unseen space, inside of you. It starts as a thought. That thought creates a feeling. That feeling pushes you towards a belief. And that belief becomes a sentence that you repeat so often, you stop hearing it as a spell and start treating it like a fact. And then suddenly, suddenly you are not just saying something, you are living inside of it. I think sometimes we, forget the power of language because modern life just makes words feel pretty casual. Text messages, emails, questions, comments, little phrases tossed around like confetti. But witches know better. We know the truth that's been true for thousands of years. The unseen world responds to language. Energy. Energy responds to language. Your subconscious responds to language, and your body does too. Your body absolutely responds to language. Even the universe, right? Even the universe responds to language because our words have vibration. And vibration is one of the most basic building blocks of magic. We talked about this in our quantum physics episode a couple weeks back. So when we speak, we truly speak. We are doing more than expressing ourselves. We are setting a tone. We are setting a direction. We are creating an energetic instruction manual for what comes next. Your words are those instructions. They are not just commentary, right? They're not just how you feel today. They are signals, like little magical smoke signals that are sent out into the world. When you say, "Ugh, I'm stuck," you're not describing a situation. You are reinforcing an energetic pattern. When you say, "Man, I never finish anything," you're not being funny. You are literally telling your spirit what to expect of you. When you say, "Man, I am not good at money," well, you're making an energetic agreement with scarcity, even if you do not mean to. And the tricky thing is, many of these phrases don't come out like dark purses with dramatic music in the background. No, no, right? Most of them come out like a sigh, like a joke, like an offhand comment, like the words we say while making coffee or brushing our teeth. I have done it. I'm sure you have too. It sounds like, shoot, I'm so behind right now. It might sound like, of course this happened. Maybe it sounds like, you know what, man, I always mess things up. It could also sound like, it's just not in the cards for me. And as witches, we have to pause right frickin' there and ask something that the Parrot Spirit is begging us to ask. If my words are spells, what am I casting every day? Because really, some of us are casting spells without even knowing it. Some of us are weaving reality with words we don't even agree with. Some of us are speaking energetic contracts into existence with our own mouths, and then wondering why the universe keeps handing us the same story. I have a visual image for this. Imagine your words are like tiny scrolls, little parchment spells rolled up and sealed with wax. Every time you speak, you hand one of those scrolls to the universe. Every time you repeat a sentence, you hand it over again and again and again. And it doesn't matter if you believe it wholeheartedly, or if you say it with a laugh, or if you say it while stressed and overwhelmed. The universe is still receiving it. That little parchment spell rolled up and sealed with wax. Your subconscious is still receiving it. Your spirit is still receiving it. And guess what? They're all doing the same thing. They're nodding. They're saying, "Oh, okay, okay, message received." So if you keep saying, "I'm always exhausted, I never get ahead, I can't stay consistent, nobody helps me, this is just how I am," maybe you're saying it's too late, it'll never work. Whatever it is, whatever you have come up with, it is like you are lighting that candle over and over. It becomes a ritual. It becomes a pattern. It becomes the magic you are feeding, whether you know it or not. And that's what Parrot Spirit, I think, wants us to notice. Because this year, for me, I am focusing more on how I want to feel. And if I want to change the way I feel, I need to be mindful of my words, my thoughts, the little parchment spells rolled up and sealed with wax that I give to the universe. Parrots repeat what they hear, right? Well, we do too. We repeat what we've been taught. We repeat what we've heard growing up. We repeat what our culture says. We repeat what past relationships have said. We repeat what our fear says. And after enough repetition, we really do start to believe it's the truth, when really it was just a message, a story, a sentence. But here's the good part. Here's the empowering part. If words can shape your life, words can reshape your life too. That's not fluffy. That is not pretend. That is real and that is magic. Because you do not have to wait for a big transformation moment. You do not have to wait until you feel perfectly confident. You do not have to wait until you feel ready. You can begin shifting the spell today simply by becoming aware of what you say and gently choosing your words with more devotion. Now, I'm not talking about being positive all the time. This isn't about pretending everything is fine. This isn't about fake sunshine and good vibes only. What we are talking about today is more about like integrity. This is about the right speech. This is about speaking in a way that supports the life that you are building. So, with the Parrot Spirit showing up right now for February, I don't think this card is trying to shame us at all. Really, I think it's trying to kind of wake us up. It's whispering, hey, listen to your words because you are building an entire world out of them. So I say, then let's build it on purpose. Let's speak like the witches who know our voice is sacred. Let's speak like the words are wands. Let's speak like we deserve to hear kindness in our own mind because we do. And that brings us to the next question Parrot Spirit asks. And honestly, this one might be the most important question of the whole episode. What are you saying to yourself? Not what you say out loud when people are around you, not what you post on Instagram, not what you say when you are in a good mood and everything is flowing. I mean, what are you saying to yourself in the quiet moments, in the in between moments, in the messy moments, when nobody is listening? Because those words, those are the ones doing the deepest magic. Self talk is one of those things that we brush off like, it's just thoughts, like it's no big deal, like it's background noise. But self talk is not background noise. Self talk is a spell that plays on repeat. It's a narration of your life, and your nervous system believes it to be true. Your subconscious believes it. Your body believes it. And your spirit believes it too. Even if you don't mean it, even if you don't want it to be true, the repetition makes it powerful. That's why Parrot Spirit is such a potent messenger, because parrots repeat what they hear. And humans, we do the same thing. We repeat what we've heard, but we also repeat what we have survived. We repeat what fear says. We repeat what doubt says. I do it. We all do it, don't we? We repeat what stress says. We repeat what we were trained to think about ourselves. And then one day that inner voice doesn't even feel like a voice anymore. It feels like reality. It feels like a fact. It feels like identity. And if that is happening to you too, this is where we need to get really, really real with ourselves in the most loving way possible. Because for a lot of us, the way we speak to ourselves would be completely unacceptable if we said it to somebody else. Can you even imagine? Like if your best friend, your partner, or whoever told you that they felt overwhelmed and you said to them, yeah, man, well, you're always behind. You never finish anything. And you know what? You always mess things up. We'd never do that, would we? We would never. We'd be like, excuse me? Who are you talking to? But guess what? We say those things to ourselves, don't we? We say, man, I'm such an idiot. I can't do anything right. I always screw it up. We say things like, I'm not good enough. I'm too much. Or I don't know, I'm not enough. I'm lazy. I'm failing. I'm never going to figure this out. And if we are being extra sneaky about it, we say it in ways that sound harmless, right? Like jokes like, oh my gosh, I'm such a mess. Or, whatever. Of course I forgot. It's classic me. Or maybe we say, well, I'm just not one of those disciplined people. And Parrot Spirit comes in like, are you hearing yourself? Because those words might feel casual, but they are energetic instructions. And I'll say it again, they are like tiny little scrolls, that parchment paper spell rolled up and sealed with wax. That kind of self-talk becomes identity. And identity becomes choices. And choices become habits. And habits become your next reality. So in saying, words aren't decoration, they're direction, this is exactly what I mean. Because self-talk doesn't just change how you feel, it really changes how you behave. It changes what you choose to attempt. It changes what you allow yourself to receive. It changes what you think is possible. And on the witchy side of this, if your self-talk is constantly telling you you can't, then every dream you have has to fight through that sentence. Every dream, every goal step. If your self-talk is constantly telling you you're not safe, then your body will resist peace, even when peace is available. If your self talk is constantly telling, oh, sorry guys, that one hit. It's different when you say it out loud, isn't it? Even if you think it. That would hit. There are so many habits that I'm trying to work through right now and I'm trying to change. And this is it. Like, this is it. This is the work I'm trying to do. And I'm sharing it with you on a very raw, intentional level. And it's hard. It's hard. But we can do this. Like, we've got this. If your self talk is constantly telling you that you're behind, then you will start rushing, forcing, overthinking, exhausting yourself because you're living inside a spell called not enough time. I believe a lot of us are unintentionally living under self curses, not because we're broken, not because we're weak, not because we're doing magic wrong, but simply because of repetition. Because a curse is really just a story that gets repeated until it's hardened into reality. Some of us have been repeating the same harsh stories for decades. So when Parrot Spirit asks, what are you saying to yourself? I think it's to liberate you. It's like this oracle card is holding up a mirror and saying, do you hear the story you're living inside? Because you, my friend, can change it. You can change the spell. And it doesn't have to be dramatic. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to happen overnight. Sometimes it starts with one small shift. So instead of saying, I always mess up, you can say, I'm learning. Instead of saying, I'm behind, you say, I'm in progress. Instead of saying, I can't, you say, I'm figuring it out. Instead of saying, I'm not good at this, you say, I am becoming good at this. And yes, I know, I know it might feel weird at first because old words have grooves in them, don't they? They've been repeated for so long, they've carved little pathways in our minds. But the magic is that new words create new pathways. New words create new energy. New words create new outcomes. And Parrot Spirit is reminding us that we are allowed to become the kind of witch who speaks to themselves like they are sacred, the kind of witch who blesses themselves, the kind of witch who speaks in a way that supports the life they are building. Because your self talk is not just thoughts, your self talk is the spell that you live inside. And this month? Well, this month we are not living inside spells that shrink us. We are speaking spells that grow us. Okay, so now that we've talked about self talk and the spell work happening inside of our own minds, well, let's go one layer deeper and do a little shadow work together. Because the parrot spirit doesn't just represent our thoughts, parrot spirit represents some borrowed thoughts. It represents the beliefs that we did not choose, the phrases we did not create. It represents the stories that were handed to us and repeated to us until we absorb them as truth. Again, because parrots repeat what they hear, right? But so do we. And sometimes, without realizing it, we spend years speaking someone else's story through our own mouth. We repeat what we were told as kids. We repeat what our culture rewards. We repeat what we were trained to believe about money, love, body image, success, aging, femininity, motherhood, ambition, witchcraft, all of it. All of it. And here we are with the parrot spirit, showing up with this gentle but very firm question. Is this what you truly believe? Or is this just what you've heard so often you stopped questioning it? When you hear something once, you can certainly dismiss it, right? Like we can. But when you hear something over and over and over again, especially from someone who has authority in your life, it starts to settle in your bones. It kind of starts to feel normal. It starts to feel like reality. And then one day you catch yourself repeating it like it's a fact, not even realizing it was never yours to begin with. So let's get a little rebellious, shall we? Because Parrot Spirit is not just about talking nicer. This oracle card is about breaking enchantments. It is about undoing the programming. It's about pulling old chords out of your voice. It's about asking, who put these words in my mouth? Because some of our beliefs are not really beliefs at all. They are echoes. They are old recordings. They are things that were taught by people who were living their own wounds. And we carry them forward without meaning to, like ancestral baggage, like energetic hand me downs. And the tricky part is some of these borrowed beliefs really do sound normal, right? They sound practical. They sound responsible. They sound like something you are supposed to say, but they still shape your life like a spell. Okay, so does this sound familiar? Some of us have a belief that says work has to be hard. Like if it's not exhausting, stressful, and overwhelming, it doesn't really count. That's not truth, right? That's conditioning. That's capitalism sitting in your nervous system. What about this one? Some of us carry the belief that rest is lazy. Like rest has to be earned. Like peace is suspicious. Like you have to justify stillness. I can say I'm personally struggling with this one right now, and that habit I keep mentioning that I'm working on and moving forward from. But that belief doesn't come from my soul. That belief comes from a world that benefits when I am too tired to dream. Some of us were taught that, hey, you cannot have both. Oh, that's an oldie but goodie, isn't it? You can't have love and success. You can't have money and spirituality. You can't have ambition and softness. Oh, guess what? You can't have boundaries and be lovable. And the parrot spirit is like, my friend, who told you that? Because that one is a cage, isn't it? Some of us have a belief that says, I'm too much, whatever too much is. Too sensitive, too emotional, too intense, too complicated. I don't know, maybe you've heard that from someone who didn't even know how to love you properly. Maybe you heard that from someone who couldn't handle your power. Maybe you heard that from someone who wanted you smaller so they could feel bigger. But the truth is, your soul is not too much. Your soul is exactly the size it was meant to be. And then we have the ones that feel like almost invisible because they're just spoken so casually. Beliefs like, this is just how I am. I've always been this way. It's too late for me. Or, I'm just not one of those people. Those sound like little throwaway phrases, but they are actually huge, huge spells. Because every time you say that, you are not just describing yourself. You are sealing your identity. You're closing the door. You are making a decision about your future. And the universe hears you. The scroll is written. So this month, this is why, the parrot spirit is such a powerful ally for all of us. Because it is basically saying, stop repeating spells you never meant to cast. Stop living inside stories you didn't write. Stop carrying beliefs that don't belong to you. Stop letting other people's limitations become your identity. And I want to add something here with all of the love in my heart. Sometimes our borrowed beliefs came from people who loved us. And it doesn't mean they were villains. It doesn't mean they meant us any harm. It just means that they passed down what they believed. And now it is our job as grown, powerful, conscious witches to decide what we keep. And this is where our magic becomes fun and real because once you recognize a borrowed belief, well, you can reclaim your voice. You can rewrite the spell. You can literally take your power back with new language. So right here in February, with the parrot spirit perched on our shoulder, we get to ask, what belief am I repeating that I am ready to release? And if you're doing it in a way that I am, like the decluttered witch does, I powerfully say thank you and release it. And then, in connection with my goals for this year and how I want to feel, I ask, what belief do I choose instead? Because this really is not just about removing old words, it's about choosing new ones carefully. Choose your words carefully. It's about upgrading the spell. It's about becoming the witch who speaks their truth, not an echo, not a repetition, not a reaction. We are speaking our own truth as a creator. Let's talk about the law of praise, how we need to speak what we want to grow. Because the parrot spirit doesn't only come in with warnings, it also brings a gift. And that gift is what Colette Baron Reed calls the law of praise. And when I read that phrase, law of praise, I was like, yes. Oh my gosh, yes. Because witches understand this instinctively, don't we? We know that attention is energy. We know that what we focus on grows. We know that what we feed with our words becomes stronger. And praise is one of the most underestimated forms of magic there is. And not fake praise, not forced positivity, not, spiritual bypassing where we pretend everything is fine while we are secretly falling apart. No. Nope. I'm talking about real praise, like intentional praise as a practice. Praise as spellwork, really, because praise is how we strengthen something that is becoming. Praise is how we nurse what's growing. It is how we tell the universe, this is what I want more of. Now, some of us are very disciplined about noticing what is wrong. We are pretty good at it. We can walk into a room and immediately see what is out of place. We can look at our goals and immediately see what we did not do. We can look into a mirror and immediately see what we want to fix. For our work, too, we can look at our businesses and immediately see what still isn't perfect. With our relationships, we can look at our relationships and instantly detect what needs improvement. All of it. All of it. And it's not because we're bad witches, it's because we've been trained for survival. We've been trained to scan. We've been trained to fix. We've been trained to notice what could go wrong so we can prevent it. I kind of refer to this as Plan B. Do you guys do this? Like be ready for anything and everything. But Parrot Spirit is reminding us that we can't build a magical life by only speaking about what's missing. Again, if the words you repeat back are always about lack, then the energy you grow will be lack. So the law of praise is like this gentle redirection. It says, speak what you want to grow, speak what you want to strengthen, speak what you want to be true. And this is where praise becomes spellwork, because when you praise something, you just breathe life into it. When you praise something, you feed it, you water it. When you praise something, you make it real. So I say, great, let's make this practical. Let's do it. What if in February we started praising things that we normally ignore? Instead of only praising big wins, what if we praised consistency? What if we praised our progress? What if we praised effort? I don't know, what if we praised the fact that we showed up at all? Like you got out of bed today. Praise it. You answered an email that you've been avoiding. Praise that. You made a healthy choice. Praise it. You held a boundary. You rested without guilt. You stopped yourself mid-spiral and chose a kinder thought. Praise that. Because what happens when you start praising yourself, you become someone who feels safe inside your own mind. When you start praising your progress, you create momentum, right? You start speaking gratitude and acknowledgement out loud. You start shifting your energy from scarcity to abundance. And abundance responds, doesn't it? And praise is not just something we give outward. Praise really is something we give inward too. This is kind of like self-blessing, like self-love magic. This is devotion. This is how we become a witch who is rooted in wholeness instead of constantly chasing not enough. And let's talk about praise in the outer world too, because the parrot spirit brings that message so strongly. As Oracle card says, be generous with compliments and thanks. And I know that might sound simple, but it's actually really powerful witchcraft, because when you bless other people with your words, you really change the atmosphere. You change the energy. You become someone who carries light. And the best part? Well, that energy comes back to you, not because you're doing it to manipulate the universe, because praise is a frequency. and frequency attracts. Our web, our witchy web responds to it. So if you want love, I say speak love. If you want beauty, name it. If you want support, acknowledge support. If you want abundance, praise the abundance you already have, even if it's super small right now. Because small abundance grows into big abundance when it's fed, when it's watered, when it's nurtured. So I've got a little Parrot Spirit challenge for February. If you guys want one, before you complain, praise something. Before you criticize yourself, praise your effort. Before you spiral about what's not working, praise what is. Before you speak your fear out loud, speak your truth. Because the law of praise is not about denial. It's more about directing your power. It's about choosing words that build and heal and strengthen the life that you are calling in. The universe will take all of those scrolls that you wrote, all of those parchment paper scrolls sealed with wax, and reflect back the story you tell. So be careful. Be careful of your words. Tell a story worth living inside. Okay, let's do a little check in. Where are we at with my notes? We've been talking about self talk, repetition, borrowed beliefs, the law of praise. Let's go ahead and bring it straight into the heart of witchcraft, shall we? Because if there is one place where words and intention absolutely matter, it's spell work. And I think we all know this, right? I'm not saying anything new here. Like, we know spells aren't just about lighting a candle and walking away. Spells aren't just vibes, they are intention given form. And one of the main ways we give intention form is with language. And this might sound obvious, but honestly, I think we all need a little reminder now and then. Words are not optional in our spell work. Even if you don't speak your spell out loud, even if you maybe write it down, maybe you whisper it, even if it's silent in your mind, words are still doing the work. Because words are how you aim energy. Words are how you shape the spell. Words are how you tell the universe what you actually mean. And we do not cast sloppy spells. We don't cast spells from chaos and expect clarity, right? Or cast spells from self doubt and expect confidence. We know better. We don't cast spells from desperation and expect peace. So the Parrot Spirit showing up this month is like, hey, witch, be mindful. Speak clearly. Speak with integrity. Speak like you mean it. Because there's a huge difference between saying, I guess, yeah, I hope things work out, and saying, I claim what is meant for me. There's a huge difference between, I want more money, and I welcome prosperity and I manage it with wisdom. There's a huge difference between, I don't want to be stressed anymore, and I choose calm, I choose clarity, I choose peace. And yes, I know that might sound like semantics, but it's not. It's more like spell mechanics, because the universe does not just respond to what you want, it responds to what you declare. It responds to what you repeatedly align with, and to what you believe is possible. And your words, well, they are going to reveal that. Your words reveal what you believe. So this month, I would love to invite you to upgrade your spell language, really. And I don't mean you need to sound like an ancient priestess every time you do a money bowl. We're not trying to be Shakespeare over here. Speak like a witch who knows their power. Speak like someone who has authority over their own life. And you can feel the difference, right? It's the difference between I hope this happens and I allow this to unfold. It's the difference between please, universe, and I'm ready. It's the difference between I just need and I receive. The difference between I want and I choose. One of my favorite shifts is this. Instead of speaking spells from lack, like I don't want this problem anymore, we speak spells from direction. We name what we are calling in. We name what we are building. We name the truth we are stepping into. Because we do not avoid shadows. Like, we light the path. And you know what? Another big part of Parrot Spirit energy in spell work, we have to be mindful of what we repeat, even casually. Because if you were doing a spell for abundance, but you keep saying, I'm broke all week, well, those energies clash, don't they? If you're doing a spell for love, but you keep saying, people always leave, well, that's the spell you're feeding. If you're doing a spell for confidence, but your inner voice is like, oh, I'm embarrassing. Well, your spell has an uphill battle. It's like you're trying to grow a garden while pouring salt into the soil every morning. So, Parrot Spirit is reminding us your spell isn't only what you do under the moon. Your spell is what you repeat every single day. And quickly, I want to talk about integrity for a moment too, because I think this is important for us, witches, and it's very Parrot Spirit ish. Integrity means you don't say one thing and believe another. It means you aren't speaking spells that your spirit does not agree with. Because then the spell feels like sticky, it's confusing, foggy. So if you're casting a spell and the word feels forced or fake or like you're trying to convince yourself, that's not really failure. I think that's information. That is your inner wisdom saying, we need language that feels true. So maybe instead of jumping straight from I'm a hot mess to I'm a perfect goddess of productivity, I don't know, maybe your bridge spell is I am learning how to support myself. Or you can say something like, I am becoming consistent. Or I am safe to grow. Maybe you say, I am allowed to change. Witches don't lie to themselves. We enchant ourselves. We speak words that feel like a truth that we can step into. So this month, with Parrot Spirit, I want you to think of spell language like spell ingredients. Words are ingredients, right? And if you wouldn't dump random ingredients into a potion and expect it to taste good, then don't dump random language into your spell and expect clean results. Be intentional, be precise, be loving and powerful, because your voice is one of your most sacred tools. Your words are not decoration, they are direction. And in spellwork, words are the wand. Okay, let's talk about our inner voice and figure out if it's either a guide or a heckler. Because this isn't just about spells and self talk, this really is about meditation too. And the parrot spirit doesn't only ask what we are saying to ourselves while we are working, it asks what we are saying to ourselves in the quiet moments, in the very still moments, in the moments when we're trying to breathe, come back to center, connect to spirit, connect to the moon, connect to ourselves. If you've ever tried to meditate and thought, I'm doing it wrong, or my mind won't shut up, or I can't focus, first of all, welcome to my world. Welcome to being human. But second, I think the parrot spirit is over here saying it's not that your mind is loud, it's that your inner voice is just untrained. Meditation isn't about silence, meditation is a relationship. It is learning to sit with yourself without letting that inner narrator turn into a bully. And you guys know this is not my specialty, right? I am still learning to meditate better. I am in progress. But I do think this is such an important part of February energy because so many of us want to be calm, right? We want to be grounded. We want to feel connected. We want to feel present. But if you are like me, we sit down to meditate and immediately our inner voice just kind of starts heckling us. It starts listing everything we have not done. It starts bringing up old shame. It starts reminding us of awkward moments from, I don't know, like 10 years ago. It starts catastrophizing the future. It starts whispering those little spells of anxiety like, what if this doesn't work? What if I fail? What if I can't keep up? What if something bad happens? What if I'm wasting time? And then we think we're bad at meditation. But what really is happening is that we're hearing the parrot spirit in action. We're hearing what the mind repeats, those old scripts, survival stories, inherited beliefs. We are hearing the nervous system autopilot. And when that voice gets loud in meditation, I want you to remember this. Meditation is not about getting rid of your thoughts. Meditation can be about changing the relationship you have with your thoughts. It's about becoming the witch who can sit and witness her own inner voice without obeying it. And the parrot spirit is the perfect ally for this because parrots repeat. They echo. They don't always know what the words mean. They just repeat what they've learned. And I think our minds do the same thing. So when you sit down to meditate and your inner voice is harsh, maybe it's a bit of a bully, that doesn't mean you're broken. It means you've been repeating certain stories for a long time. And now, in the stillness, you're finally hearing them. And this is where meditation becomes deeply, deeply witchy, because meditation really is not passive. Meditation is spell work. It's energetic training, the nervous system magic. It's a practice of shifting the frequency that you live in. So instead of thinking meditation is about being silent, which is what I thought, certainly the way I used to think of it, I want you to think of meditation as learning to speak to yourself like you are sacred, like you are someone worthy of gentleness, like you are someone who deserves kindness. Because some of us don't need more discipline. Some of us need a kinder inner voice. Some of us need a softer self-blessing. Some of us need to stop speaking like we are at war with ourselves. So I think parrot spirit in meditation is like this. When you hear the inner voice repeating harsh things, don't fight it. Literally, don't argue with it. And definitely don't spiral with it. Just notice it. And then choose a new phrase. Choose a phrase that supports the way you want to feel. Choose a new anchor. Choose a new spell. This is when I'm working on, things to do in my meditation. When the mind starts spinning, I whisper something simple like, I am here. I am safe. I am present. I am breathing. I return. Every time you say I return, you are actually reclaiming your power. You are interrupting the old pattern. You are snapping the energetic cord of repetition, and you are training your spirit to come back home. If you want something even more parrot spirit aligned, well, you can do this. Pick one sentence for the entire month of February. One line, one mantra, one truth that you repeat like a spell. And every time your mind repeats that old fear, you repeat your chosen truth, your chosen line. This is the law of praise and meditation. This is your new inner script. This is you, as a witch, becoming the author of your inner world. Because your inner voice is either a guide or it's a heckler. And February? Well, it is the month that we stop letting the heckler run the show. We're just not doing that anymore. We are choosing words that heal. We are choosing words that steady us. We are choosing words that bring us back into our own power. And that, at least for now, that is meditation for me. Not silence all of the time, but sacred speech. All right, I would love to bring the parrot spirit out of our inner world and to our outer world, because this oracle card also asks, what do you say to others? And I love this part of the message because it reminds us that our words aren't just spells for ourselves. They are spells for our relationships too. They are spells for our homes, our friendships, our workplaces. They are spells for the energy that follows us around all day long. And I know that sounds dramatic, but it's true. Every conversation carries energy. Every word you speak leaves a little imprint on others, on the energy of the room. A tone can bless a room or drain it, right? We've seen it. A sentence can heal someone or haunt them. A compliment can lift someone for days. And a careless comment can sit heavy in someone's chest for years. That's how magical words are. And I think the parrot spirit reminds us that there is power in speaking with light and love. And no, not some cheesy be nice rule. I am not one of those light and love all of the time type of people, but more like as intentional witchcraft, as conscious energy work, as leadership, really. Because when you speak with love, you create safety. When you speak with kindness, you create connection. When you speak with gratitude, you create a bunch of abundance. And when you speak with praise, you grow goodness in other people. There are so many people walking around right now starving, like literally starving for gentle words, starving for encouragement, acknowledgement, starving for someone to say, I see you, I appreciate you. And hey, you're doing a good job. I think the parrot spirit is like, just go and be generous. Be generous with compliments. Be generous with thank yous. Be generous with the kind words you think in your head, but don't always say out loud. Because, uh, because sometimes one sentence is a spell. One sentence is medicine, and your voice can literally be healing. But, and this is a really big but, the parrot spirit also teaches us something extremely important. Speaking with love does not mean speaking without boundaries. Speaking with love does not mean allowing people to hurt you. Speaking with love does not mean being polite when you are being disrespected. That's not what I'm talking about. Speaking with love does not mean shrinking. Because here on this episode, like witch to witch, some of us were trained to be nice. Not kind, nice. And there's a difference. Nice sometimes says, I will keep the peace even if it costs me. Nice often says, I'm not going to speak up because I don't want anyone mad at me. Nice can sometimes say, I will swallow my truth and smile. But kindness? That's different. Kindness is honest. It's clear. Kindness is integrity. It can say no. It can draw a line and protect you. So when Parrot Spirit says speak with light and love, it does not mean letting people take advantage of you. It means choosing your words with power. It means you don't curse people in your mind and call it spiritual. It means you don't weaponize your words. It means you don't gossip and then wonder why your energy feels heavy. I think it means you don't speak in a way that weakens your character, because witches are intentional. We are responsible with power, and your voice is power. So let's talk about some examples because I just love making this practical. Speaking with light and love might sound like this. Instead of snapping, you say, I need a moment. Instead of people pleasing, you say, that doesn't work for me. Instead of shrinking, you say, I'm not available for that. Instead of explaining yourself for 10 minutes, you say, no, I'm sure. Instead of letting resentment build, you say, I need to be honest about something. Instead of absorbing someone's bad mood, you say, I am going to protect my energy today. Those are spells too. Those are protection spells, right? They're boundary spells. They are clarity spells, really. And I think this is such a big February lesson because February is when our goals start to get tested, right? We had them drafted out in January, and then we choose or are choosing the ones we want to nurture and water and grow. We know how we want this year to feel. This is when life asks us, like, okay, are you serious about this new version of you? And a big part of becoming the version you want, that you are in fact working on and calling in, is learning to speak differently in relationships. And not from fear, not from guilt. I'm not talking about those automatic scripts, but from choice, from confidence and self-respect. So if the parrot spirit is our February guide right now for many of us, I want you to imagine this little bright, colorful bird, or whatever your parrot looks like, perched on your shoulder in conversations this month. Before you speak, you pause and ask, is what I'm about to say aligned with who I am becoming? Is it kind? Is it clear? Is it necessary? Is it true? Does what I'm about to say bless or drain the situation? Because our relationships respond to our words, and your words are a wand. You can use them to bless, bond, to heal, to grow. And you can also use them to protect your peace. That is not selfish. That is sacred. Well, let's see. How do we incorporate all of this? The spell work of thought and speech. We have talked about the words we repeat, the spells we cast with language, the law of praise, and the power of right speech. Let's talk about what we can actually do, because it is one thing to understand this intellectually, right? It all sounds good, of course, but witchcraft is not just about theory. Witchcraft is a practice. So let's do a little ritual together, a mini spell, something you can do today, right now, even if you're listening to this in your car, walking the dog, or folding laundry, or maybe just sipping your morning coffee. Let's do a right speech ritual inspired by the Parrot Spirit. And the intention is going to be super simple. We are blessing our voice. We are reclaiming our words and we are taking our power back. Now, if you are at home and you want to do this as, a full ritual, here's what you can gather: a white candle or even a yellow candle. Think about clarity, truth, and light for this one. A small dish of honey for sweetness in our speech, and a pinch of cinnamon for some confidence and boldness. I would also grab a sprig of rosemary if you have one for truth, protection, and clear intention. You'll need a pen and paper if you want to seal the spell in writing. But just know, if you're out and about and you have none of this right now, you can't do the physical side of it, you still have everything you need because your voice is the tool. Your breath is the tool. Your intention is the tool. So here's what I want you to do. Take a deep breath in and let it out slowly. And as you breathe, just relax your shoulders, unclench your jaw, and if you want, place one hand over your throat. Not tight, just gently over your throat, kind of like you are reminding yourself that your voice is safe to be heard. Now, take another deep breath in, and on the exhale, I want you to imagine you are releasing old words, words that weaken you, words that shrink you, words that do not belong to you. Maybe they are words you learned from fear, from survival, or words you learned from other people. And now we speak. You can repeat after me out loud or whisper it or just let it land in your spirit. Okay, ready? I release the words that weaken me. I release the stories that shrink me. I call my voice back into truth. Now speak this next part super slow, like a vow. My words are powerful. My voice is sacred. My thoughts are seeds, and I plant them with intention. Now we're going to bring in the Parrot Spirit and the Law of Praise, and we bless what we want to grow. So once again, say with me, I praise what is good in me. I praise what is becoming. I praise what is healing. And if you want to make this personal, you can add another sentence in right here. Do you on this one, right? Whatever needs to be said, say it. Something like, I praise the way I keep showing up. I praise the way I keep trying. I praise the way I keep growing. Or I don't know. I praise the way I keep choosing myself. And now we're going to seal it. Seal it with a declaration. And this is the spell. This is the energetic contract. Say out loud, I speak with clarity. I speak with love. I speak with integrity. I speak words that build the life I'm creating. Let's take one more breath and imagine your words becoming golden, like honey, like sunlight and warmth, like medicine, really. And if you have a pen and paper, here's the final step. Write one sentence you will repeat for the rest of February. Again, we're going back to that one line, one mantra, one truth. Keep it simple with this one. Something like, I speak kindly to myself. Or, I don't know, I am safe to be seen. My voice matters. I bless my life with my words. I don't know, maybe you write, what I speak, I grow. And when you're done, fold that paper up and put it somewhere you will see it. Maybe it's in your wallet. Maybe it's in your planner. I love using my mirror for things like this. But maybe it's your altar, your car. Put it where you will see it. We are tapping into the repetition that the Parrot Spirit loves so much. We are going to repeat the good words. We are going to repeat the words that heal. We are going to repeat the words that build. That's the magic. That's how this spell takes root. Oh my goodness, look at the time. Okay, thank you guys for, for staying with me. Let's see, before we close out today, I want to give you a few journal prompts that you can work with this month because the Parrot Spirit isn't just a, listen to this podcast and move on kind of energy. The Oracle card really is an invitation for all of us. It is asking us to become aware, to become intentional, to become responsible with our voice, not only outwardly, but inwardly too. So if you have a journal, a notebook, your notes app, whatever you use, here are 3 journal prompts for February. First one is, what phrase do I repeat the most often when I am stressed? And where did I learn it? Be honest with yourself. Does that phrase even belong to you? Or did you inherit it? Was it something you heard growing up? Was it something a past relationship repeated? Was it something you picked up from hustle culture? Because awareness is really the first act of spell breaking. Second prompt, if my words were spells, what have I been casting daily? This one can be a little intense, but it is super powerful because it reveals what you've been feeding. It helps you see whether your dominant story has been one of confidence or doubt, abundance or lack, love or fear. And the third prompt is, what words do I want to become my new truth? Again, we don't want perfect fantasy version of you here, right? The real you, the you who is growing, the you who is becoming. What words feel like a doorway that you can actually step through? Just choose a few, just the ones that feel nourishing and believable, because those words, those will become your new spell. Well, I do think I've gotten a little off track with tying our topics over the past couple months into the office and work environment. And this is, of course, witchy work wishes. So let's do a quick recap of everything, but with a corporate twist to it all. Because I know so many of us aren't just doing magic in our homes or at our altars. We are doing magic in real life spaces too. We are doing it in our offices, at our jobs, in meetings, in client conversations, in emails, in Slack messages, all those weird moments where someone stops you in the hallway and your nervous system has to make a decision in zero point 0.4 seconds. So when we talk about thought and speech as spell work, it applies to the corporate world just as much as it applies to witchcraft. And actually, I don't know, maybe it sometimes applies even more because corporate environments are energetic ecosystems. They have moods, they have tides, they have social hierarchies and unspoken expectations. They have stress cycles and busy seasons and end of quarter energy that honestly feels like a full moon on espresso. And a lot of corporate environments operate like this constant underlying spell that says urgency, pressure, prove yourself, hurry, don't mess up, don't be too much, don't take up space. And the thing is, you can feel it, right? Even if no one says it out loud. So if we're not careful, we start absorbing that energy. And then our thoughts start matching it. And our speech starts matching it. And all of a sudden, without realizing it, we are casting spells inside our own lives that we never consciously chose. You guys remember what we've talked about so far? Thought is energy plus direction. Thought is not passive. It's not just thinking. Thought is creative force. Thought is frequency. Thought is the internal story we keep repeating and repeating and repeating. And then speech? Well, speech is spell work made audible. Speech is the moment your internal world becomes an external command. So, in a work environment, what we are really learning to do is this: we stop speaking from stress, we start speaking from power. We stop thinking from fear and we start thinking from choice. Because corporate life doesn't just test our skills, it tests our energy. Corporate energy is loud, it's fast, it's reactive, it's full of constant input. And this is why thought and speech magic is just so important at work too. Most people are unconsciously reacting all day long. Reacting to an email tone. I've done it. Oh my gosh, I've done it. Reacting to a meeting comment. Reacting to someone's bad mood. Reacting to pressure. Reacting to being behind. Oh my goodness. And witches, we are not here to be reactors. We are here to be choosers. So this is our edge. This is how we work magic in the workplace. Before we speak, we check in with the energy behind the words. Before we respond, we ask, is this thought true or is it just urgent? Is this story helpful or is it old conditioning? Am I speaking to build clarity or to relieve anxiety? Because the workplace is one of the most common places where we start accidental spell work. You know what I mean, right? You're typing an email, you're frustrated, and you write something sharp. Literally just did this a couple weeks ago. Oh, that's a spell. You're in a meeting and you downplay yourself. Well, guess what? That's a spell. You vent to a coworker and keep repeating how drained you are. That is a spell. And I'm not saying we never vent. I do it. You guys do it, right? Or we have to be perfect little productivity robots. No, we're human. But what I am saying is your words create your work reality. It does mine. And once you understand that, you gain so much power back. So let's bring it right into the practical. At work, our inner dialogue often becomes this constant little background voice, right? We've done it. We've all said it. I'm behind. I'm going to get in trouble. They're going to think I'm dumb. I can't keep up. I'm not good at this. I'm failing. And the wild part, sometimes nothing has even happened yet. It's just the thought. And we've talked about this, right? A thought repeated enough times becomes identity. Identity becomes behavior. Behavior becomes reality. So in corporate magic, we start with the thought. What am I repeating inside my mind while I work? Because if your brain is casting fear spells all day long, your nervous system is going to live in fight or flight. Even if you're sitting at your desk with a latte in a cute planner. So here is the spell shift. Instead of I'm behind, we are going to say, I am prioritizing. I am making progress. I can do one thing at a time. Instead of saying, I'm not good at this, we're going to say, I am learning this. I am getting better with repetition. Instead of saying, this is too much, we're going to say, this is a lot, and I can handle it in steps. And I want you to notice something like these are not fake positive vibe only statements. They are spells rooted in truth and authority. They calm the body and focus the mind, which is actual corporate power. Now let's quickly talk about some speech at work too, because your words at work can either leak your power or protect your power. Because corporate culture sometimes rewards chaos communication, over explaining, apologizing constantly, talking in circles, saying yes too fast, filling in silence, agreeing to things you don't want, gossiping to cope. So here's where we apply the thought and speech magic like a true office witch. We speak with intention. We speak with clarity. We speak with clean energy. And that means we don't attach ourselves to panic language. We don't, spread stress like it's office perfume. We don't say things that weaken our self-trust. Because if thought is the inner spell, speech is the spell you release into the room. In corporate rooms, they hold energy too, right? You can walk into a meeting and feel it immediately. So we become the one who enters like, I will not be swept. I will not shrink. I will not mirror chaos. I create calm. And yeah, that's witchcraft. That's leadership. Okay, let's put this into some real corporate context. When you get an email that triggers you, instead of firing back instantly, we pause, even if it's 10 seconds, and we ask, What spell am I about to cast? Because your reply is going to create a ripple. Sometimes the spell is choosing not to respond emotionally. Sometimes the spell is a clean boundary. Sometimes the spell is a calm, I will follow up tomorrow. And sometimes the spell is this: think about this before I answer. That sentence alone could change someone's entire work life. When you're in a meeting, oh my gosh, meeting spell work is huge. This is where we practice thought and speech magic in real time. Don't rush to talk to prove you belong. Don't shrink to stay safe. Don't say yes automatically. Instead, we slow down. We speak like we trust ourselves. We use phrases like, here's my perspective. Maybe we say, what I'm hearing is whatever. Or what I suggest is whatever. We might even say, hey, what we need clarity on is whatever. Let's define success first. Those are power phrases. Those are clarity spells. The corporate witch doesn't just survive work, they shape it. And this is the big point I hope you carry with you today. Corporate spaces can drain people because they don't realize how much of their energy is being pulled into unconscious patterns. But witches, we're not here just to be drained, right? We are here to deliberate. We choose the story in our mind. We choose the energy behind our words. We choose the tone that we allow into our day. And we become the person who shifts the room, not because we're loud, but because we are grounded. So if you're listening to this and thinking, hey, Charlene, how do I actually use this tomorrow? Here is your simple office daily spell. Before you open your email, say, my mind is clear, my words are intentional, I move through this day with calm power. I do not borrow chaos, I create clarity. Because that is thought, that is speech, and that is magic. Okay, I know, goodness, I know we are going a bit longer today. I just peeked at the time again. Let's see, if you take nothing else from today's episode, I hope you remember this. Your words matter. And again, not in a be perfect way, not in a never complain way, or a good vibes only way. Your words matter in the truest witchy way. Your words carry energy. Your words carry intention. Your words carry vibration. And whether you mean to or not, the words you repeat become the story you live inside. I love, 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 love that the Parrot Spirit showed up for us this February. I think it is exactly the nudge and reminder that we all need. And it's here just to kind of wake us up, right? It's here to perch right on our shoulders and whisper, listen, your voice is sacred. Your words are not decoration, they are direction. Your inner voice is not background noise. It is the spell you live under. Just notice your words, notice your thoughts, catch them gently, without shame, without spiraling or, beating yourself up. When you hear an old phrase you do not want to keep repeating, release it and bless yourself with a new one. Because we are not parroting stories that shrink us anymore. We are not living inside borrowed beliefs, and we are not repeating fear like it's truth. We are witches. And this month, we are reclaiming our voice. We are speaking ourselves forward. We are praising what is good, and we are blessing what is becoming. We are telling a story worth living inside, because the universe will reflect back the story you tell. So I say, tell a story that heals you. Tell a story that strengthens you. Tell a story that makes you feel proud to be you. And then repeat it over and over and over again. Repeat it until it becomes real. Okay, real quick before I grab today's poem and our moon update for the week, I want to share something with you. If you have found yourself really loving this Parrot Spirit energy, if it stirred something, if it made you pause, reflect, or, I don't know, maybe notice your words in a new way, and you can feel that little nudge, that like, I kind of want to go deeper with this, Well, this Parrot Spirit is actually our February animal oracle card pull over on Patreon for our Witchy Work Wishes family. And if you're wondering why, like why I work with animal oracle cards in this space, well, it's because I'm just deeply, deeply connected to the energy of animals. I always have been. Ever since I was little, animals have always felt like teachers to me. They're messengers, mirrors, companions on the path. And while I absolutely love researching lots of different magical topics, exploring new systems and sharing what I'm learning with you right here in this space, the world of animal energy is something I feel especially called to, something I feel qualified to go deeper with. It's a place where I can really, just like slow down, listen closely, and feel into the symbolism, and then build layered, meaningful practices around a single energetic thread. So each month, I pull one animal oracle card and share it as a direction for all of us. And then I create a full deep dive around that energy. We explore how it shows up in daily life, how it weaves, into our magic, and how we can consciously work with it. Then that turns into some spells and some grimoire pages and journal prompts and exercises. It turns into worksheets and sigils and sometimes little ritual ideas or reflections too. All of that lives over on Patreon. Each membership level has access to different pieces depending on just how deep you want to personally go. Whether you're more of a gentle explorer, or a full on magical immerser. So if you want to work with the Parrot Spirit in a really hands on way, kind of beyond what we touched in today's episode, come on over and join us. I've got the full spell, the grimoire packet, the journal prompts, the exercises, the worksheets, basically a whole month-long magical experience designed to help you actually live with this energy, not just hear about it. Our Patreon family is cozy, supportive, it's witchy, it's real life friendly, and you are super, super welcome there. You'll find the link in the show notes, or you can head to the website, the witchyworkwishes.com website, and everything is waiting for you there. As always, if you love today's episode, the easiest way to support this podcast is to share it with a witchy friend or leave a review. Like, I promise those little actions truly help more than you know, and I am so, so deeply grateful. Okay, if you can, still stay with me. I'm going to go grab the poem and our moon phase update for this week of February 4th, and I will be right back. Well, we always start with the poem first, so it goes. Mind the words that leave your tongue. They shape the paths your feet will run. A whispered doubt, a harsh refrain, can stitch a spell that holds your chain. So watch what you mutter, watch what you say. Your words cast spells in quiet ways. So don't hex yourself when life feels tight. Speak softer truth, speak golden light. Praise what's growing, praise what's real. Choose words that bless the life you feel. The universe loves a bold debut, so talk like the magic is already you. Praise the good and speak it true. Let kinder words come calling through. For what you speak, you start to grow. So bless your voice and let it glow. Okay, our moon update for this first week of February is it's just barely starting to wane. We had our big in bulk February 1st full moon this past weekend, and oh my goodness, how nice was that? So today, Wednesday the 4th, probably still feels full-ish, but she is in fact starting her descent. What does that mean for us? Well, it means we are now entering the part of the lunar cycle that is perfect for releasing and refining. The full moon shows us what's true, but the waning moon really helps us edit things. It helps us simplify. It helps us clear out what's no longer aligned. So if you're sitting there like, okay, I had this big emotional full moon weekend, now what? Well, this is the now what. This first week of February is a beautiful time to clear out mental clutter, kind of detox from negative self talk, stop repeating the same story, and choose a better sentence on purpose. And that fits the Parrot Spirit perfectly. Everything we've been talking about here today, doesn't it? Because waning moon energy is basically the universe handing you a red pen and saying, here, edit the script, my friend. This is the phase where we start shedding, where we ask what needs to leave my body, my mind, my home, my office, my calendar, my heart. And because this episode is all about words, I think the waning moon is asking something very specific of us. It's saying, release the words you no longer want to live under. Let the moon carry them down as it descends. Before I say goodbye for today, I just want to take a moment and say thank you. Truly, thank you. I'm so grateful you are here with me week after week on this witchy journey of becoming. The fact that you choose to spend your time here listening, reflecting, growing, and weaving your own magic alongside me means more than I could ever put into words. This little corner of the world that we've created together feels like home to me, and I never take that for granted. So thank you. Thank you for being part of this community, for supporting this podcast, and for walking this path with me. I'm so honored to be your host, and I'm so excited for everything that we are building together. Okay, next week we are talking about numerology again and the calendar date of Friday the 13th, but also the Venus energy of Lupercalia and Valentine's Day that is happening on Saturday. I cannot wait to share all of this energy with you. For now, though, I hope you have a great rest of your week and an amazing weekend. And I will talk with you next week. Thank you for joining me today at Witchy Work Wishes, a place to find your weekly inspiration for bringing your personal witchcraft practice into your business, work, and office. For more information and additional content, please visit me online at witchyworkwishes.com. If you want to send me a personal note, please email me at info@witchyworkwishes.com. And of course, you can follow me on Instagram and Facebook. Just search for Witchy Work Wishes.